Stop worrying about tomorrow, because it is stealing your peace. Let me ask you a direct and perhaps uncomfortable question. How many times have you tried to sleep, but your mind simply wouldn't turn off? Your body is tired, but your thoughts are racing. You lie down in bed and, instead of resting, you find a battlefield. Worries about money, the future, and decisions that haven't arrived yet. Now tell me, does this sound familiar? Because if it does, you need to understand something right now. You are not just tired from today. You are tired from carrying days that haven't even come yet. And this is where the change begins. Jesus said something that completely confronts this way of living. Do not worry about tomorrow. But let's be honest, this sounds impossible, doesn't it? How can you not worry, living in a world that demands planning and control? But what if I told you that maybe you've understood this wrong your entire life? Stay with me until the end of this video, because what you're about to understand today can literally change the way you live each day from now on. And do something now. If this message makes sense, leave a like and subscribe. Comment, I surrender my tomorrow to God. Write that as a decision. Now, let's get straight to the point. There is a difference almost no one notices. The difference between preparation and worry. Preparation is healthy. Worry is destructive. Preparation says, I will do what I can today. Worry says, if I don't control everything, something will go wrong. One comes from responsibility. The other comes from fear disguised as responsibility. C.S. Lewis said, trusting God does not mean the absence of problems, it means the presence of God in the midst of them. Now think with me honestly, how many times have you called responsibility something that was actually anxiety? How many times have you said, I'm just trying to prepare, when deep down you were trying to control the uncontrollable? And here is the truth can set you free. Worry gives you the feeling of control, but in practice, it only steals your peace. You can spend hours thinking about the future and not change absolutely anything in it, but you can destroy your present. And Jesus knew that. Jesus never said, avoid worrying when possible. He said, do not worry. This is not a suggestion, it is direction. You were not created to carry tomorrow. You were created to live today with God. Most people live anticipating tomorrow. That creates a dangerous cycle. Anxiety, exhaustion, and more anxiety. You enter a constant emotional survival mode. Now answer me honestly, are you living or just trying to avoid the worst? Worry is not just a bad habit, it may be stealing your life. There is a silent trap. It looks like maturity, responsibility, and even looks like intelligence, but it is not. Many times, worry is just fear dressed as wisdom. You say, I'm just thinking ahead, or I'm being realistic, or even, if I don't think about everything, everything will fall apart. But notice something. Your mind is not planning, it is panicking, and there is a huge difference between those two things. Planning is sitting down, organizing, acting, and then resting. Panic is thinking non-stop, never finding peace. Worry makes you feel productive, even when you are not. You spend energy fighting against events that may never exist, because while you try to protect your future with worry, worry is destroying your present. Jesus asked, which of you, by worrying, can add a single hour to his life? None. Not 1 hour, not 1 minute. Worry promises control, but delivers exhaustion. Promises protection, but delivers sleepless nights and constant fear. Lewis said that if you suffer in advance, you feel the pain twice, once in your imagination, and again, if it happens, and most of the time, it never happens. Do you realize what that means? Anxiety is making you pay for tragedies that may never exist. Maybe that's why you've been so tired lately. Tired of waking up thinking about the worst. Tired of fighting invisible battles inside your own mind. And there is something even more dangerous. Worry is turning into identity. You stop saying I am worried and start saying I am like this. I've always been anxious. This is my personality. I can't help it. But be careful, because what you accept as identity, you stop fighting against. And God never called anxiety your identity. He called you a child, loved, someone who does not need to carry the world alone. And here is a question that can change everything. If God is really in control, why do you keep living as if everything depends on you? Maybe because, deep down, there is a part of you that believes God might fail. You would never say that out loud. But every constant worry carries a hidden message. I need to fix everything, because maybe God won't. And that brings us to the most difficult and most transformative point of all. At some point, worry stops being weakness, and it starts becoming a lack of trust. Next, you will understand why trying to control tomorrow is not only impossible, it is a task that God never gave you. And when you realize what your true mission is, a huge weight will come off your shoulders. Now pay very close attention to what I'm about to tell you, because this can lift a huge burden from your life. You have a responsibility, but it is not tomorrow. Jesus said something that most people completely ignore. Sufficient is the evil of each day. In direct terms, today already has enough challenges. You don't need to import problems from the future. But what do? We take today's problems and add tomorrow's, and then we throw in next week's as well. Result: an emotional overload that no one was created to carry. Now let me show you something powerful. When God sustained the people in the desert, He did not give provision for an entire month. He gave daily manna, every day a new provision. And when they tried to store it for the next day, it spoiled. Why? Because God was teaching a principle: daily dependence, not weekly, not monthly, and not based on control. And here is the modern problem. You want guarantees for 5 years from now, while God is offering direction for today. You want total clarity, while God is giving you the next step. But faith is not control. Faith is trust. God does not give us a complete map of the journey. He gives us enough light for the next step. And anxiety is born exactly when you try to live beyond the current step. You start thinking, what if it goes wrong? What if I'm not ready? But here is the truth. You are not being called to predict the future. You are being called to obey in the present. Because now the focus is no longer, how do I fix my entire life? But rather, what does God expect from me today? This simplifies and brings peace. But there is a powerful side effect when you live in tomorrow. You neglect today. You are in an important moment, but you cannot feel it. You receive an opportunity, but you are too distracted to notice it. And worst of all, you lose moments that will never come back, because your mind is trapped in a time that does not even exist yet. How many good things have you already missed because you were worried about bad things that never even happened? God is not found in the future. He is found in the present. The grace you need is available today. The strength you need is available today. The direction you need is available today. But you only access that when you are present. God does not give you advanced strength for future problems. He gives you strength at the right moment. That's why you feel weak when you try to anticipate everything. Now, do you understand why you are tired? It's not just life. It's the excess of time you are trying to live all at once. But here comes a truth that can set you free right now. If you are faithful today, God will take care of tomorrow. Simple, deep, and difficult for those who want control. Now take a deep breath and absorb this. Tomorrow is not in your hands, and that is not a reason for fear. It is a reason for relief. There is life happening silently all the time. Birds flying, trees growing, flowers blooming, and none of these things are worried about tomorrow. None of them. Jesus said, "Look at the birds of the air. They do not sow, they do not reap, they do not store away, and yet they are sustained. Look at the lilies of the field. They do not work, they do not produce clothes, and yet they are clothed in beauty. Are you not much more valuable than they?" Do you feel the weight of that? You are not just creation, you are a child. There is a difference between being sustained and being cared for. Creation is sustained, but children are cared for. And even so, you question whether He will sustain your future. Why? Because you are measuring God by your circumstances instead of by His character. And that distorts everything. C.S. Lewis said, "The problem is not that God fails, it is that we create expectations based on our limited understanding." You are just not seeing the full picture. Now, let me show you something that can change your perspective. Birds don't stay still waiting for food to fall from the sky. They fly and do their part, but they do not live in anxiety. They don't wake up thinking, what if there's no food today? They simply live within the order that God established. And that is exactly what Jesus is teaching you. It's not about doing nothing. It's about doing what needs to be done without fear. Now think with me honestly. Are you living with trust, or are you living as if everything depends exclusively on you? Because when you live in constant worry, you are, in practice, assuming a role that was never yours. The role of controlling everything. And here is a truth you may need to hear. You are not the provider of your own life. That may hurt your pride, but it frees your soul. Because if everything depended on you, you would have already collapsed. But you are still here. Even after mistakes, bad decisions, moments when you thought you wouldn't make it, you are still here. That is not coincidence, that is care. How many times have you thought something would go wrong, and in the end, you found a solution you never imagined? How many closed doors later revealed themselves as protection? How many difficult situations ended up leading you to something better? This is God acting, even when you don't realize it. But there is a problem. Worry blinds you to this. It makes you focus on what could go wrong and ignore everything that has already gone right. It creates a narrative of scarcity, even when you have already been sustained countless times. And this needs to change, because if you keep feeding that perspective, you will never experience true peace. If God takes care of the details of nature, He is not lost in the details of your life. Nothing escapes His control. There comes a moment when worry stops being just an emotional reaction and begins to become a silent declaration about what you truly believe. Living constantly dominated by worry reveals where your trust is. It is disguised lack of trust. Heavy, yes, but this is liberating when you accept it. Trusting God does not eliminate the possibility of pain, but it eliminates despair. Faith is the absence of despair in the face of problems. Now think with me honestly. Have you been living with faith, or just trying to avoid everything going wrong? Because there is a huge difference between, I trust that God is in control and I hope nothing gets out of control. The first creates peace, the second creates constant tension. Now, hold on to this. You cannot feed faith and fear with the same intensity. One will always grow more than the other. And the question is, which one have you been feeding every day? Because every time you repeat negative scenarios in your mind, you are training your brain to expect the worst. But every time you remember who God is, you are strengthening your trust. And that completely changes the way you live. Jesus said, "Seek first the kingdom of God, and all these things will be added to you." Do you see the order? First alignment, then provision. Reorder your priorities. Stop living trying to guarantee tomorrow, and start living aligned with God today. This is spiritual strategy. Are you trying to secure your life, or are you willing to entrust it to God? Living with God is the absence of despair. Imagine waking up without that tightness in your chest, going through your day in peace. That is the result of real trust in God. Here is the final truth you need to carry with you. Tomorrow belongs to God, but the decision to trust belongs to you. Subscribe to the channel C.S. Lewis Mastery. Leave a like and share this video with someone who is living exactly this. And comment below with intention. I trust my tomorrow to God. You are not alone, and you are never been without direction. God is already in your tomorrow. Now it's your choice whether you will keep trying to control it or finally learn to trust. See you in the next video.